A new era of naval power is on the horizon, perhaps only days away, and the world is watching with a mix of awe and trepidation. Recent images have emerged online, showing the gleaming deck and flurry of activity aboard a vast steel giant, China's Fujian aircraft carrier. The whispers across defense circles and social media have grown into a thunderous roar, while Chinese state media has all but officially declared that the Fujian will soon be commissioned into active duty. But what does this truly mean for the global balance of power at sea? And how might the world's maritime order be reshaped by this colossal warship's entry into service? To grasp the full magnitude of the Fujian's impact, let's take a step back and consider the broader arc of naval power in the 21st century. For much of the post-Second World War era, the United States and its closest allies have maintained overwhelming dominance at sea. Aircraft carriers, often dubbed floating cities or fortresses of steel, have served as the crown jewels of this dominance. These behemoths have allowed the United States Navy to project power, respond to crises, and ensure the security of global trade routes from the Mediterranean to the South China Sea. China, for many decades, was not considered a blue-water naval power. Its navy, the People's Liberation Army Navy, or PLAN, was largely a coastal defense force, focused on protecting China's immediate shoreline and deterring regional adversaries. But in the past 3 decades, the world has witnessed a transformation of breathtaking scale and speed. The Chinese government has poured unprecedented resources into naval modernization. Billions of dollars have been invested in building new classes of nuclear-powered submarines, guided missile destroyers, amphibious assault ships, and, most symbolically, aircraft carriers. The journey of the Chinese carrier fleet is instructive. It began in earnest in the early 2010s, when China acquired the unfinished hull of the ex-Soviet carrier Varyag. After extensive refitting and modernization, the ship was reborn in the year 2012 as the Liaoning, the first Chinese aircraft carrier. It was a powerful symbol of China's growing ambitions, but the Liaoning was still based on an older Soviet design, with significant technological limitations. Next came the Shandong, launched in the year 2019. The Shandong boasted improvements in design and operational capability, but it, too, relied on a ski-jump launch system and lacked many of the technological leaps that characterize the world's most advanced carriers. Now, however, the world stands on the brink of a new chapter. The Fujian, designated as Type 003, is not only China's most formidable carrier to date, it is a quantum leap, a technological marvel, and a statement of intent. For the first time, China has built an aircraft carrier from the keel up, entirely with indigenous technology and expertise. This is not merely an evolution, it is a revolution in Chinese naval power. So, what sets the Fujian apart from its predecessors and from the carriers of other nations? Let's start with its propulsion and design. The Fujian utilizes a state-of-the-art hybrid propulsion system, combining gas turbines, diesel engines, and electric drive. This configuration offers not only increased range and operational flexibility, but also significant reductions in acoustic signature, making the vessel quieter and harder to detect. In an era of advanced submarine threats and long-range anti-ship missiles, this stealthier profile could prove decisive. But perhaps the most headline-grabbing innovation is the Fujian's electromagnetic catapult launch system, or EMALS. Until now, only the United States Navy's Ford-class carriers have successfully deployed this cutting-edge technology. Traditional steam catapults, used on older carriers, are cumbersome, require intensive maintenance, and place tremendous stress on both the launching mechanism and the aircraft. The electromagnetic catapult, by contrast, uses powerful magnetic fields to accelerate aircraft to takeoff speed. This enables the Fujian to launch a wider variety of heavier and more technologically advanced aircraft, including early warning planes, refueling tankers, and, crucially, the next generation of stealth fighters. Naval analyst James Marquez captures the significance succinctly. The Fujian is more advanced than carriers developed by France and the United Kingdom, marking a major step up from previous Chinese designs. Marquez points out that the true test will come when the Fujian's crew can seamlessly conduct complex air operations, coordinating fighter patrols, early warning aircraft, and anti-submarine missions simultaneously. If China's sailors can master these demanding tasks, the Fujian could stand as a peer competitor to the United States Navy's most advanced carrier groups. In terms of raw capability, the Fujian is expected to carry between 50 and 60 aircraft, a formidable air wing by any standard. This complement is projected to include the J-15 fighter, a navalized version of China's most advanced fourth-generation jet. But the innovation does not stop there. The Fujian is also designed to operate the KJ-600, an advanced airborne early warning and control plane, as well as the much-anticipated J-35 stealth fighter. If these aircraft are successfully integrated, China's carrier air wings will boast a combination of firepower, situational awareness, and flexibility that could rival or even exceed many Western navies. The ship's defensive systems are equally sophisticated. The Fujian is equipped with advanced close-in weapon systems, essentially last-ditch automated guns and missile interceptors, designed to knock out incoming threats such as anti-ship missiles and enemy aircraft. Its missile-based point defense systems add another layer of protection, making it a tough nut to crack for any potential adversary. The vessel's central island is pyramid-shaped and strategically positioned to reduce its radar cross-section, further enhancing its survivability against modern detection and targeting systems. Beyond the hardware, the commissioning of the Fujian signals a profound strategic shift. With 3 operational carriers, the Liaoning, the Shandong, and now the Fujian, China enters an elite club of naval powers. Only a handful of nations in history have maintained more than 2 aircraft carriers in active service. State media in China has openly hinted at the dawn of a 3-carrier era, framing this as a moment of immense national pride and a testament to decades of scientific and industrial progress. Cao Weidong, a leading Chinese military expert, puts it plainly: possessing 3 carriers represents a significant boost in combat capabilities, whether for far seas operations or for imposing maritime blockades against Taiwan's separatist forces. This is not just rhetoric. With 3 carriers, China can organize rotational deployments, ensuring that at least one strike group can remain on station at any given time, even as others undergo maintenance or training. This is a crucial step toward building a true blue water navy, capable of sustained operations far from home ports. The geopolitical consequences are enormous. With the Fujian in service, China's ability to project power will extend deeper into the South China Sea, across the Western Pacific, and potentially into the Indian Ocean. This dramatically alters the calculus for regional actors like Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, the Philippines, and India. These nations are now reassessing their own naval procurement plans, investing in new submarines, anti-ship missile batteries, and tighter military alliances to counterbalance China's expanding reach. The United States, for its part, is watching with acute interest. American carrier strike groups have long been the gold standard for maritime force projection, but the arrival of the Fujian introduces a new variable into the equation. Military planners in Washington and allied capitals are updating war games, scenario analyses, and contingency plans. The question is no longer whether China can build world-class carriers, but how quickly it can learn to operate them at the highest level of complexity and effectiveness. But is the Fujian truly ready for the demands of real-world naval warfare? The answer, for now, is complex. According to open-source intelligence, the Fujian has already completed at least 8 rigorous sea trials as of May 2025. These trials test everything from basic seaworthiness and propulsion to the integration of the electromagnetic catapult and advanced radar systems. Each trial is a crucible, revealing not only the ship's strengths, but also the inevitable teething problems of any new class of warship. Training the crew, hundreds of officers, sailors, pilots, and support staff, will be a monumental undertaking. Operating a modern carrier is as much about human skill and coordination as it is about hardware. Flight deck operations are among the most dangerous jobs in the military, requiring split-second timing and flawless teamwork. The United States Navy, for example, has spent over 7 decades honing carrier doctrine through relentless training, live exercises, and real-world combat. China's plan will need to compress this learning curve, and the world will be watching every launch, every recovery, every maneuver. Yet the stakes extend far beyond military hardware and tactics. The Fujian's commissioning is a fulcrum moment in the broader contest for influence across the Indo-Pacific and beyond. With 3 carriers, China can now support more frequent long-range patrols, escort convoys, and even establish a greater presence around overseas bases, such as the Chinese outpost in Djibouti on the Horn of Africa. This global reach translates into greater leverage in diplomatic negotiations, disaster response operations, and peacekeeping missions. But with opportunity comes risk. The growing might of China's carrier fleet intensifies the possibility of miscalculation and crisis. The South China Sea remains a flashpoint, with overlapping territorial claims, vast reserves of energy resources, and some of the world's busiest shipping lanes. Already there have been incidents involving Chinese, American, and Southeast Asian ships in these contested waters. The presence of powerful carrier groups only raises the stakes, increasing the risk that a local skirmish could spiral into wider conflict. Yet history also offers reminders that naval expansion does not always lead to conflict. At various points in the 20th century, the growth of powerful navies stabilized trade routes, deterred piracy, and enabled humanitarian interventions. If managed wisely, China's carrier fleet could contribute to international peacekeeping, disaster relief, and the enforcement of maritime law. The key will be transparency, communication, and the willingness of all parties to avoid zero-sum thinking. For viewers, the story of the Fujian is more than just a tale of steel, technology, and strategy. It is a vivid illustration of how quickly the world can change when ambition, science, and geopolitics intersect. Consider how, within a single generation, China has gone from a regional naval power to a contender on the global stage. This transformation has been powered by sustained investment in education, industrial policy, and scientific research, a lesson for any nation seeking to shape its destiny in the 21st century. So, what practical lessons can we take from the rise of the Fujian? First, it reminds us that advancements in naval technology have far-reaching implications, not only for military strength, but for global commerce, energy security, and the balance of diplomatic power. The world's oceans are the arteries of the global economy, carrying more than 90% of world trade by volume. Whoever commands the seas exerts enormous influence over the flow of goods, resources, and information. Second, the Fujian underscores the importance of investing in human capital. The most sophisticated warship is only as capable as the men and women who operate it. China's rapid progress has been underpinned by a massive expansion of technical education, engineering programs, and hands-on training for its naval personnel. This is a vivid example of how national priorities in education and science can yield dramatic results within a few decades. Third, as citizens and observers, we should always question the prevailing narrative. Every technological leap brings both promise and peril. The same electromagnetic catapults that make the Fujian a marvel of engineering could, in the wrong hands, fuel new arms races or destabilize fragile peace arrangements. Balanced analysis requires us to look beyond headlines, to consider both the risks and the opportunities that technology creates. To answer the burning question, will the Fujian's introduction mark a decisive shift in the global naval balance? The truth is nuanced. The Fujian's commissioning does not mean that China will instantly overtake the United States Navy. The United States still operates a fleet of 11 nuclear-powered aircraft carriers, each supported by advanced logistics, battle-tested crews, and a global network of alliances. Decades of operational experience, joint exercises, and integrated command structures continue to give the American Navy significant advantages. However, the Fujian's arrival signals the waning of a unipolar maritime order. The United States can no longer assume uncontested dominance across the world's oceans. We are entering a more multipolar era, one in which power is distributed among several major players. The contest for influence will be more complex, more dynamic, and, potentially, more perilous. And here's a little-known fact that hints at what's coming next. While global attention is fixed on the Fujian, Chinese engineers are already hard at work on the next generation of carriers. The Type 004, if completed as planned, will be nuclear-powered, displacing over 100,000 tons, putting it on par with the United States Navy's Nimitz and Ford classes. Nuclear propulsion would give future Chinese carriers virtually unlimited range and endurance, allowing them to remain at sea for months without refueling and to operate at the very limits of the planet's oceans. This could upend naval strategy in ways we are only beginning to imagine. The Fujian is also part of a larger trend, the integration of unmanned systems, artificial intelligence, and networked warfare into naval operations. China has been investing heavily in drone technology, electronic warfare, and cyber capabilities. In the coming years, we may see Chinese carrier groups operating alongside swarms of unmanned aerial vehicles, undersea drones, and advanced missile destroyers. The battlefield of the future will be as much about information and data as it is about steel and firepower. For the global economy, these changes have profound implications. Secure sea lanes underpin everything from oil shipments to the delivery of microchips, rare earth minerals, and consumer goods. As competition intensifies, the risk of disruption, from conflict, piracy, or even economic sanctions, rises. Businesses, investors, and policymakers must factor maritime security into their calculations as never before. So, what should you, whether you are a student, a business leader, or simply a curious citizen, do with this knowledge? Here are some actionable insights. First, stay informed about developments in naval technology and strategy. The decisions being made today in shipyards and naval academies will shape the world for decades to come. Follow reliable news sources, government reports, and expert analysis to understand not just what is happening, but why it matters. Second, recognize the interconnectedness of military, economic, and technological trends. Investments in one area, such as quantum computing, artificial intelligence, or new materials, can have cascading effects across many sectors. As the world becomes more complex and interdependent, a holistic perspective is essential. Third, support international dialogue and cooperation. The risks of misunderstanding, miscalculation, or accidental escalation are real. Diplomatic engagement, transparency, and crisis management mechanisms are more important than ever in a world where naval power is once again on the rise. And finally, remember that history is shaped not only by the ambitions of great powers, but by the ingenuity, resilience, and choices of ordinary people. The story of the Fujian is a testament to human creativity and determination, a reminder that the future is not predetermined, but is forged by the actions and decisions we make today. In conclusion, the imminent commissioning of the Fujian aircraft carrier is a watershed moment in global naval history. It marks China's arrival as a true maritime power, capable of shaping events far beyond its borders. It raises profound questions about the future of security, commerce, and diplomacy in the 21st century. Will the rise of China's carrier fleet lead to stability and cooperation, or to rivalry and confrontation? The answer is not yet written. If you found this deep dive enlightening, make sure to give us a like, subscribe for more expert analysis on technology and world affairs, and share your own perspectives in the comments below. What do you believe? Will the new generation of carriers foster a safer world or fuel new competition? The future of the oceans